Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mike Armstrong podcast show. This afternoon, I'm joined by David Rice from Snap Analytics. We met recently at an online Introbiz Networking Event, and I'm interested in getting to know David a little bit more, do a bit of networking. So we thought, why not record it, stick it on the podcast, stick it on the YouTube channel, and see what happens from there then. So how are you doing this afternoon, David? You okay?
I'm doing very well, Mike, and it's great to be talking to you. I've warned the kids to keep the noise down in this new normal when they have a habit of sneaking into the office. So
if they do sneak in with a nanny just behind them and she gets on her knees and starts dragging them out, I'll have a hit. So don't worry about it.
Absolutely, yeah, that's it. The famous BBC clip.
Yes, definitely. So yes, good to meet you, obviously online at the Introbiz event recently. And I know you're part of the Bristol Massive, which has started to join us, which is great for us in Wales because we like doing business with people in Bristol and in the southwest of England. Or I like doing business with people anywhere. So, I'm not...
Absolutely, likewise.
Yeah, good. I'm an entrepreneur, not typical Welsh people. So, I've embraced people from all over the place, even if it's over the border in England.
Indeed. Well, we'll maybe come on to that, Mike. We're actually collaborating with a company over in the US at the moment with regards to an opportunity. So the world, I think, post-COVID is a much smaller place.
Yeah, definitely, and especially since the lockdown and because of Zoom now everyone's used to doing this rather than just the pioneers, if you like. It's sort of the new norm, and I think most entrepreneurs, when they weigh up their cost of sale and cost of travel and expenses and time efficiency and all of that into the equation, they're probably going to be doing a lot more of these going forward, in the future.
Absolutely. I think it's going to become the new normal. I think, the people have realized that technology can, remove the traditional barriers that we thought were in place. So, I think it's a really, really positive thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing for Greta Thunberg as well, and the world as a whole, and everyone who cares about the environment, because this coronavirus, I haven't heard much about it, but this must have massively impacted the environment. You see it in the rivers and lakes and the nature and all of that sort of stuff. And ultimately, if people have got used to doing business via Zoom, I still like networking in the real world, mind, and much more than online. But there's a bit of both to be done, isn't there, rather than just one or the other.
Absolutely, yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your business, what you've been doing during the lockdown, what you did in the past to get yourself here, and then we'll talk more about what you're looking to do in the future then. So fire away.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a company that helps to demystify data. So we're a consultancy company, but we help organizations really understand how data can start to drive their goals. So if you want to increase your sales, or whether you want to reduce your costs, or we talked about sustainability, whether you want to reduce your carbon footprint, you need to start with data. So you can almost always map those bigger strategic goals of your organization down to data. So if you want to increase your sales, you need to make sure your sales people are making X number of calls, or that you're reaching X number of people with your marketing, and then constantly track and measure how effective those channels are for you. And that can really, as you know, Mike, help you drive sales and deliver value in your organization. If you want to reduce your costs, you need to really understand your costs. And if you're a big global organization, that can be very, very difficult. And often these organizations are actually relatively, can be quite inefficient with certain people doing the same things. Are you negotiating effectively with suppliers? So we worked with a big automotive manufacturer to help them to pull their part costs all into one place and help them to drive commonality of parts across vehicles, but also to negotiate better with their suppliers by using data. And the business case was huge. It was well over £100 million every year saving. So I think there's massive value in data, and I think the first thing we do as an organisation is help companies kind of map out that opportunity. You know, where is the value? What are we trying to do? And how can data help us get there? So that's kind of who we are. We focus heavily on cloud.
Before you move on to the next bit where you focus on, obviously I did ask you about the coronavirus and what led you to get there as well. So pause there for 2 seconds. I just wanted to give you a quote which I like, which I think was relevant to what you said there, which is, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So that's one of my favorite quotes from being a sales manager, sales director, because I was into, you know, measuring KPIs in order to be aware of performance, in order to be able to tackle and manage issues within the sales team to improve performance and get much more results out of the same processes, if you like. So yeah, you know, I'm with you on that, if you like, you know.
Yeah, and there's a great book called Measure What Matters that talks about OKRs, objectives and key results. And again, it's a process that's used by Google, and it's worked pretty well for them, I would say. They're a decent sized business now. So yeah, they're heavily driven by metrics, and effectively everybody has a number. And I know, Mike, I think you were obviously on the call with Sally, and I think you know Sally well. Yeah, I think it's one of the things that Sally noted is that, you know, everyone has a number. And you know, make sure you measure the things that matter. And so data is obviously key to that.
So so far away in where you were, if you could remember where you were. In your
So I think one of your other questions was what have we been doing over the last few months? I think it's been really interesting for us. Initially, we had the initial blip, obviously, but what we're seeing now is a massive sort of push towards digitization. The organizations that were slightly behind the curve in terms of technology are really now starting to look at how they can improve how they use technology and drive that moving forward. So we're actually having really interesting conversations now, and things are starting to pick up. And I think overall it could be quite a positive thing in terms of the businesses that are realizing that. Can you hear my kids? Sorry, mate. I'm going to go and.
All right. I like to keep things real, so don't worry about that. It's life. It's life under lockdown.
Let me go and poke the kids a minute and ask them to keep the noise down. I've already done it once. I'll try again.
Do something funny so I can earn some money off this video and get it to go viral. Yes, so great chat with David at the moment, and when he goes and says goodbye to the, or be quiet to the kids, I'll fill in the gap. David's coming back now, so yes, continue on where you were, David, but this is life under lockdown, and it happens on ITV, you know, so why can't it happen on Mike's YouTube channel?
You might have to just edit this one a bit. So yeah, I think from, you know, as a result of this, I think organizations have realized that, you know, having the information they need when they need it, you know, they can't go to sort of John over in the corner and ask him to give them a spreadsheet anymore. They need the data at their fingertips to be able to make decisions. And I think a lot of companies realized that they didn't really know what this meant for them, maybe in terms of cash flow or their finances or for their workforce. So I think the importance of data has started to become more visible to people in those organizations. And what you often find is there's actually a lot of, you know, the hamster wheel that is churning in the background. There's lots of manual people sort of, you know, people pushing buttons and creating VLOOKUPs and spreadsheets and all kinds of stuff to produce a lot of the reports that happen today. And I think organizations are realizing they need to simplify and automate that. So one of the things we do essentially is pull data from different systems, pull it all into one place, and then visualize that data and make it actionable.
Okay, good.
So we've had some great conversations. Companies in the US, which is a partnership that wouldn't happen. A government organization that's looking to become more digital in the way that they operate, particularly in regards to social care. And there's another opportunity with an aerospace business who have got a lot of planes on the ground right now, and finding that actually, that creates problems in terms of preservation of engines and things like that. Having visibility of that is really important. There's some cool stuff happening actually as a result of this, and opportunities that wouldn't have otherwise arisen.
Yeah, brilliant. And obviously I've got a background in data as well, so I'll go on to something which I'm doing at the moment, which may well help you. But before I do that, what was the background? Because, you don't just end it up in data necessarily. You start somewhere and it's a journey. So what was the background that got you into data and the expertise, if you like, behind that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Well, as a kid, I quite liked just pulling computers apart, and I was a bit of a geek. I was a sporty kid as well. I was into my football. I didn't quite add up. Yeah, I was a bit of a floater, for want of a better word, as a kid. I was always into tech, and I was about to go traveling after uni, and got a job for a HR software company, and I think they realised that I was quite good on the techie side. I was just answering phones to save a bit of money before going travelling, and my degree was in business, and I ended up getting asked if I want to join the analytics team, and that was for me a bit of a I got excited about that because I've always been into tech and data, and used to tinker with sort of coding and all sorts. So I ended up working in HR analytics for about 7 years as initially on support, and then in consulting, and then I set up my own consultancy practice, and I think as part of that journey, there's a stat from Gartner, which is 60% of BI, business intelligence and analytics projects fail, and I've worked in some of those that have failed. It's several of them, and I think you learn a lot along the way. And I think I was always constantly of the view that there's a better way to do this, and not only that there's a real lack of soft skills in the IT space, and people go in and focus on, we can build a solution without thinking about what the problem is. So it's a solution, right? So solutions should only be deployed if there's a problem. So there's always, often I found a lack of understanding of the problem in the first instance, and secondly, I think these solutions were over-architected and over-engineered, and I think now with the cloud, we can switch on massively scalable architectures, and we can invest less time in setting up servers and installing and maintaining software and doing upgrades, and more time focusing on how can you get value from data. The technical implementation now is much, much easier than it was just 5 years ago. So we've partnered with some of those cloud enablers, such as companies like Snowflake and Matillion, and Fivetran being another one. So they're companies that are heavily focused on getting data into cloud data platforms and then helping you get value from it very, very quickly. I think Fivetran's tagline is do it in minutes, not months. Build your data pipelines in minutes, not months. So I think, yeah, we've got a heavy focus on kind of accelerating and simplifying, and I think that's where that's my journey has kind of come to this place where. So we had a conversation with Darryl Irwin at Creation, the marketing agency, and we kind of summed up our vision, and that is really to create a world where data makes sense. I think for too long people have been bamboozled by consultants using lots of buzzwords, very expensive consultants using buzzwords, trying to get them hooked on these really complex 3-year projects. And it's not necessary anymore. We can, we can really accelerate and simplify this stuff. So our vision really is create a world where data makes sense.
Yeah, so you're looking to become a data translator or a data whisperer, if you like, telling stories from the data that are of interest to people in order to improve their business, their processes, their systems, etc.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah, good. So how I know a fair bit about data, because as you can probably tell, I'm a bit familiar with data. I used to work for a credit reference agency. I used to sell data en masse to large companies, to corporate companies, to your clientele, if you like, the people you want, if you like, your dream clients. They're the people I used to sell data to. So a lot of those people, would put the data into their CRM system, or into their data wholesale place, or into their software system, or wherever, into their e-commerce platforms. They would put the data in and use it for various different functions, because it was business data, financial information. So mostly in the credit checking, finance area, but a bit in marketing as well, and that sort of thing. So I'm quite familiar with data. I used to sell tech solutions to high-end corporates. And more recently, because of the business I pick up, which is mostly through networking in Wales, I tend to provide more sales and marketing solutions that are basic tech solutions, like scheduling, social media and things like that, SEO, blogging, link building, things like that. So tech, but basic tech, I would say, not that complicated. But I'm looking to go more UK wide and national, and offer more solutions that are higher end, because that's where my expertise is, my knowledge is, it's where the money is where the value is, etc. So I'm always interested in toolkits, if you like, that can enhance my offering in the area of sales and marketing. Yeah, that businesses should implement, because I'm a consultant, I'm an advisor, a mentor, coach, that sort of thing. People listen to me when they can get to understand what I mean, because I'm a technical salesperson, I'm a solution seller. So sometimes you tell people something and they don't understand it, and so they've got to get up to a certain level of education or understanding before they implement it. But yeah, if you can give me information, not necessarily now on here, but via email, however, on some of the stuff you're doing around sales and sales performance data and KPIs and all of that, then that's definitely something I think I could add to my toolbox. So I could be a lead referral partner or lead generator for you. As long as you look after me in the pocket situation, then I think that's definitely something that we could work on together, like a collab.
We'll definitely have a chat, Mike. I think the challenge is there's so many CRM systems and so many different systems out in the ether that standardizing that as a process becomes difficult. So this is a conversation we'll definitely take offline. But I think having a common data model and a common set of reports. Power BI is a great tool for quickly pulling together data. Tableau's another one. But I think building commonality that you can go out and sort of deliver, because these CRM systems are all built differently, the data is structured differently, and actually, people may want to pull together data from different systems. So I think if you can build a common framework to say, regardless of whether you use HubSpot or Microsoft Dynamics or SAP, we will translate that technical model into something that a user can understand, so that you can then start to drag and drop and even build your own analytics on it. Because the other thing is everybody's got a different question, and there is no one size fits all. I know a lot of organizations like to proclaim that their solution is the silver bullet. But every organization is different, So I think if you can deliver a framework or a model, a common model, which enables that self-service, make it so simple that I can drag and drop and answer my own questions, whatever they may be. I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah, well, when I used to work in a fast growth tech startup business, we used to pull data in from Excel and whatever. When we first started, we had KPIs measured, different points of the day on a big spreadsheet. It would go around the management team, who would fill in the information, automated, manual, and then we automated that, and it used to feed computer systems, on the sales floors and stuff. So, the different people could see who's at the top of the board, and, what the average sales are and average order values, and dems to sales and number of demonstrations, because we used to do online demonstrations before selling. So you have a look at the conversion rates and all of that. So I know there's a lot of sales organizations out there who are still using the older, antiquated sort of methods, or not tracking that sort of stuff. And actually, if you can implement a good system of pulling out the data from wherever they put it and displaying it, so that it can be used as a management tool, in order to measure and manage and conduct performance, if you like, real time, then I know there could be a big effect of that. There's a good thing to be able to do. So, that's the sort of solution I think it sounds like you can definitely deliver, or you can build or help build with people. And that's definitely a solution that I know I could get people to be interested in, because it's something which will improve their performance. And I actually am looking to target. I've had a run of not really targeting corporates for a while, after doing 10 years targeting corporates, because I've been mostly getting my business in Wales and just operating at the sort of medium to large SME level rather than the corporate level. But I'm on a mission to become a global speaker, and I want to do that, and also to set up training seminars and stuff for corporates. And I've come up with a 7 pillars of success formula. It's called Streams.
Fantastic.
And Streams is about systems, technology, relationships, efficiency, action, marketing, and sales. Yeah. So obviously what you do covers, it's in both systems and technology and marketing and sales. So it's in 4 parts of my 7 pillars, if you like.
Fantastic. No, I'd be interested to have a look at your 7 pillars. So what's next for you then, Mike, on building out the 7 pillars and getting that out there? Is that something you're promoting at the moment?
Yeah, well, literally, I come up with this. I had a brainwave. Listened to Jared Robbins, who's son of Tony Robbins, and he was talking about 5 happiness steps, and it was resonating with me at the time because I was living it. I was actually doing the 5 steps and being really happy. So I've had an amazing lockdown period, and I was living the steps, and I thought, bloody hell, that's good. This is son of Tony Robbins. It's got to be good information, given the science behind the 5 steps. And I decided, actually, I quite liked his 5 steps, but I decided to turn it into a formula, a daily formula, because I disagreed with a couple of them, although I shouldn't disagree with Jared Robbins, son of Tony Robbins, because it's probably good information. I just disagreed slightly from my own experience on some of the steps. So I thought, I'll come up with my own formula and teach that, because I think it's an important thing to be happy. It's a happiness formula. And so I come up with 5 steps of happiness, which led me on to, well, what makes me happy as well is success. Success is what makes me happy. And I was producing a lot. I was hitting a lot of goals and targets of being successful. And I've got a career of pretty good success, consistent performance and success, if you like. So that led me on to thinking about what makes you successful. And so I come up with the 7 things I think make you successful in a corporate environment. And then I thought, well, if you combine the 5 steps of happiness, which include fitness and exercise and meditation and mindfulness and certain things, I thought if you combine those together, it's what I believe turns you into an elite performer. So that's not just someone who's successful, but someone who's consistently successful in life.
Yeah. Fantastic. And one of our key metrics, actually, and we've only got there's 4 across our own business, and one of them is the number of days we spend learning. And making sure that everybody that works for us is learning for at least 20 days every year, and that is something we insist on. It's not something we go, oh, if you have to do this training, you can do, because we believe if people are learning, that they are more fulfilled, but secondly, they're going to be better consultants. They're going to be more knowledgeable. They're going to be able to deliver more effectively. So I think
I'm a lifelong learner. I learn every day. At the moment, I'm reading 10 pages from an educational book every day as part of a 75-day challenge. But before that, I was just doing YouTube videos and Google searches and all that. And I'm just doing reading now, but I never used to read. I used to, because I could do it easier in the car and different places via audio and YouTube and whatever. But I'm reading 10 pages from books at the moment. I'm reading like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Think and Grow Rich and Think books like that.
Yeah. Got it up here somewhere.
Yeah, they're great books. I read them on my phone, so I just download them and put them into my reader on my phone. But I'm a lifelong learner, and I've spent my entire life learning. That's why I want to now teach, and I've spent most of my life teaching as well, because I've been a manager since 18. I'm 42 now, so it's always been my job to improve my team and get more out of them, etc. I turned a 7-man team doing 300 grand in year 1 to a 17-man team doing 5.7 million 8 years later. which is 20 times growth in a tech startup. So, you know, I feel I've got the experience there to educate and help other people. I got promoted 9 times in 6 years at that tech startup business and remained one of the 2 top sellers there for 10 years. So for the 2 years before I went into management and the 8 years whilst managing, I also maintained being one of the 2 top performers. So I was like, you know, player manager. And so, you know, I'm not just coming up with a formula that I think might work. It's come out of me. It come out of me. It was just as I thought of the happiness formula, and it resonated. The success formula come out of me, and that's, I believe, is my life mission. So I created these both formulas in lockdown. I call the SMART happiness formula SMART because it's sleep, meditation, ability to perform, targets, and random acts of kindness, and then targets. So that's SMART. And then it's called streams, the success formula, because it's streams. And if you combine it together, it's smart streams, and I believe it'll put you on full flow. Yeah, so it's getting into full flow. And so at the moment I'm creating, if you like, modules for each one of those 12 steps. I've got a formula for daily, the amount you need to do every day to be happy. And then I'm working on a weekly, monthly, yearly, because it's lifetime to be successful. You know, the 7 pillars of success, the streams, you've got to be working on, you know, constantly forever, you know, because if you're not, there's someone else who is, and they'll be more successful than you in your sector.
Absolutely. And I guess there's something to be said for measuring that as well, Mike. You know, as you know, if you're following those streams, how are you measuring whether you're following them? And that's maybe just the data analyst.
That's the data in you, and maybe there is, maybe as I produce these formulas and modules and I put them into the schedule, if you like. I've actually come up with a scientific, like E=mc² type formula for my happiness formula. And once I work on the ratio of pillars, if you like, I'll come up with a ratio, like a E=mc² type formula for that as well. Yeah, so I'm gonna basically sell them as scientific formulas, you know.
Fantastic, I love it. I've just created my own Google form where I'm tracking, you know, have I gone to bed at a consistent time? Have I eaten well today? Have I done exercise, and so on and so forth. So
you're producing your own formula.
And then I'm measuring how I feel at the end of each day, having done those things, to see whether there's a correlation, just to kind of start, you know, tracking my own personal data as well. So to drive my own behaviours of making sure that I'm going for a run in the morning and not staying up until midnight working and those kind of things. So
yeah, well, we're doing similar sort of things. So I set myself a daily schedule, targets, routines of activity, creation activity. But I'm also doing a 75-day challenge, which is a educational, mental strength and fitness challenge, diet, fitness, hydration. It's a bit of everything all in. So at the moment, I'm having to do like a very tight routine every day to get everything I've set myself as a daily thing I've got to do every day to get it all done. I've got to, you know, from the moment I wake up to the moment I sleep, I'm non-stop ticking off activities, if you like. But some of the activities are, you know, 45 minutes weights, 45 minutes on a bike, 45 minutes run, you know, drinking water, reading a book. So I would say they're pleasurable activities in the main, although they can be tough if you leave like the 2 45-minute exercises you've got to do per day both to the evening because you'll be busy in the day, or and you haven't had time to do the book. Then sometimes you've got to do like 3, you got to do 2 exercises and read a book, you know, all in a short space of time in the evening. So it doesn't get so pleasurable then, like, you know. But I'm 30 days in, I think, to the 75-day challenge.
Can you read the book whilst on an exercise bike or something?
I can't do that, but I can, for example, I can't do weights and then come to my phone, do a post, and then go back and do the weights in between sessions. So rather than losing the recovery time between doing a set, if you like, yeah, I can sit down, send a post on Facebook or something, then go back and do another 10 sets or whatever, and go back. So I'm into efficiency. E is one of the E in my streams formula is efficiency, and how I was able to grow 7 people into 17 people and 5.7 million. Well, the first 3 years I had the same 7 people, and I turned them from doing 300 grand to doing 360, 480, and 960 in the first 3 years. So off the same 7 people, we managed to get them from 300 grand to £1 million just under. of the
Yeah,
same
so
resource.
that efficiency then, there's a big topic I come across. I see lots of organizations that are, they've got processes which might be 10 steps, which could probably be 3. You could automate some of them. You could probably remove some of those steps in that process altogether. So again, it's something, efficiency is a massive thing for me, particularly making obviously big organizations efficient as well as individuals. How do you do that? Is process the key? How did you achieve that?
Well, systems and processes, so that comes under the S in my streams formula. So getting the right systems in place is key. Being able to automate things is whenever possible. So that's the technology link. So systems, technology, and efficiency are all intertwined. Yeah, for lots of major things, but they also can be separate elements as well. But getting the right systems, having the right automated processes, so the right technology, being able to assess the keep it simple, stupid process rather than the Frankenstein, I've been going for 50 years and this is how we've always done it process, because we've added one thing into another, into another, into another. So being able to rip that apart and say, okay, if I designed it now, how would it look? And actually get straight to that, yeah. But also, I'm a unique male in the fact that I can do things at the same time. I can multitask, yeah. Now, I've been on lots of courses that says it's ridiculous, you can't multitask, yeah. You can't concentrate on 3 things at once, but you don't necessarily need full concentration to get things done. Yeah. So, like, for example, when I'm on Zoom calls, last week I did 7 or 8 networking events for like 2 hours. Probably 4 of them were 2 at a time for 2 hours, Wednesday evening and Friday evening, because I'm listening and I can turn the volume up on one device and down on another, depending on where I am in the conversation. And then when it's my turn to speak, I can speak, etc. So I did 4 events when most people would only be able to do 2 because they don't think about multitasking. But at the same time as that, sometimes I may have so I got multiple devices. I got 2 iPhones, a laptop. The telly's always on in the background as well, yeah. And so, like, I could be on this call, and underneath the square box, I could be my phone in my hand, doing podcasting or doing some Facebook posting or whatever, yeah, or doing some one-to-one follow-ups via the chat if it's an online networking event, yeah. When I do my podcast, I do a Zoom and a podcast, yeah, at the same time. And now I'm doing.
You sent 20 emails since the start of our call and written a couple of blogs as well, have you?
I haven't done all of that because I've got too much to concentrate on. But I'm having a networking follow-up meeting, a Zoom chat, a YouTube video recording, and a podcast recording at the same time.
It makes sense.
So that is what I mean by efficiency. Now, I do it naturally because I did it for 10 years in a corporate structure. Yeah. So again, when I'm doing networking events and there's not a dual one on, I'm usually either doing my weights in the house, which is how I squeeze in my weights every day. Yeah. So I'll listen to the call and everyone's speaking, but do my weights in the background, and I'll just put my video off or just leave the background there. Or I have my breakfast. So I'm always doing something else. I never just do one thing at a time. Yeah, and that's how the one thing you cannot buy more of is time. It's the most valuable resource on the planet, is time. Way more valuable than money, because it doesn't matter how rich you are, you can't get any more time. But you can give yourself more hours in the day to do more things by doing the things that you do more quickly and more efficiently, and by doing them at the same time, etc. If they're not tasks that require 100% focus and concentration, yeah, and you don't need to, I can do Facebook posts and like and engage people and comment on stuff whilst being on this call to you, no problem if I wanted to, because it's not something that takes much focus or energy. It's just, the autopilot stuff. One thumb work,
That's it, yeah. And again, it's about prioritization as well, isn't it? I think it's something we talk a lot about. What's the high value, low complex stuff? Do that first. Yeah, do that first, because you're gonna be able to deliver value quickly that way.
I always say, pick the quick wins, the easy stuff, and do lots of that. Why work on all this long and complicated stuff if you can do lots of easy stuff and make lots of money doing that and be happy? Don't need to complicate it, do you?
Work smarter, not harder.
Yes, definitely. Well, my motto is work smarter, not harder, so you can work more smart. Yeah. So I think we've covered quite a lot of what we needed to. It's been a great chat. Just tell us a little bit about what your future plans are for the business or whatever, or maybe anything else you're doing, and then also how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So so we're in that kind of scale up, I guess, trajectory. We're looking to talk to CEOs of mid-sized organisations, IT directors, enterprise architects in big organisations, and even CFOs, CMOs. Anyone who sees the data problem in an organization or has a specific pain point. So we're like I say, we're working with some big organizations. We've got some great guys on board, and one of the really interesting things we're looking possibly to do as an offshoot of Snap is build some smart farming data solutions, so using things like sensors and drones to be able to identify disease in crops, sensors to be able to identify ideal soil conditions for growing certain crops. You can do watering of crops, just watering the crop itself rather than the whole field to save water. There's a whole load of opportunities, and we've got to, by 2030, we've got to double the amount of food we produce to be able to feed the world. But also we've got to reduce our carbon footprint at the same time. That's a massive challenge, and it's one that we're exploring some ideas in that space, because I think data is going to be key to being able to achieve that as well. So that's something we're looking at. But also, we've got some fantastic consultants. I would say if there's anyone out there that any of this conversation kind of resonates with around the other phrase I often hear is we're as a company, we're data rich but insights poor, or information poor. So I think if that resonates with anyone in your organization, give us a shout. We'd love to help you.
Okay, and how do they get in touch with you?
So you can contact us, or you can go to the website, which is www.snapanalytics.co.uk. Or email us at hello@snapanalytics.co.uk as well.
Okay, good. And for those people watching this that are on my YouTube channel, don't know how to get in touch with me, go to my mikearmstrong.me website, or Google search Mike Armstrong or hashtag Mike Armstrong, or search for Mike Armstrong or Michael Armstrong in any social media, and you'll find me pretty much. But thanks for coming on the podcast and for sharing some insight in what you do, etc. I think we'll have a good conversation off air as well about ways we might be able to collab and work together. And there's nothing else left for me to say now other than have a great day. I know I will, and thanks very much for listening. So
thank you, Mike. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, brilliant. Nice one. So that's it. Paused.
Cool.
Yeah, I usually have a little chat at the end as well, just when the recording's done. But that was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, it's good. It's good to sort of get involved in as many platforms as you can, really, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely. So podcasting is an awesome way to promote yourself globally. Yeah, which I'm looking to become a global speaker. So a lot of that stuff that I've created during lockdown is what I'm going to speak about. I'm going to speak about being the happiest you that you can be, or the most successful you that you can be. And once I've created all the modules for all the talks, I can deep dive into all of them. You ask me about any areas of those steps now, I can have a good conversation, give you a lot of information, etc. What I'm looking to do is become the best person on the planet regarding information to do with any of those areas, which is why if you was to feed me as much information as you could, I could then introduce you to people that I meet along the way when I train on streams and whatever, but also it's more information and knowledge for me to improve me and become the expert in systems, in technology, in all of the things that I'm learning on. I like to be the best, that I can be, which tends to be the best that's out there, because why can't I be better than anybody else? Like, what I mean? If I can be the best me that I can be,
you can learn anything, right? The thing if you set your mind to it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
you can
that.
do it. Yeah, I believe you can do anything that you want to. So to me, you aim for number one spot in everything you do, and then if you don't, I want to become one of the top speakers on the planet. Ideally, the top speaker on the planet, if if not of all time, at least in sales and marketing and the sectors that I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but that would be my mission. I'd be quite happy just say being a really well-known speaker in the UK. But if I aim for the top spot, which is where I think I could get, then at least I know I can achieve the stuff I'd be happy with. No problem. You get that done because it's just part of the process of the other one, So that's my mission. Like my mission is to be like a Les Brown or a Jim Rohn or a Tony Robbins or a Grant
Yeah,
Cardone.
he was fantastic, wasn't he, Les Brown?
Yeah, Les Brown was awesome. Like, yeah. Which is why I got a motivation. This podcast that we're on, or the one that we were on, is a motivational positivity podcast that also covers education, personal development, and business coaching, sales, marketing, that sort of stuff. So it's my resource that if I can't deal with people directly, but they want something from me, I can say, go to my podcast and have a listen to some episodes. You'll learn some stuff about marketing or sales or networking or whatever from there then.
Yeah, check it out, Mike.
Yeah, no worries.
Right, so we're
once it goes.
likewise, it would be good to get some of your wisdom on sales. So we've been speaking to Dave Quinn as well, Trading Route. So we're going to get those guys involved. But yeah, we're pushing quite hard at the moment because. Do
you have sales guys?
We haven't got a sales guy at the moment. It's pretty much me. So I'm kind of upskilling a little bit. Because I know the tech and I'm quite passionate and enthusiastic, I tend to be having some quite very, very interesting conversations with people. And I think that enthusiasm and passion for it kind of shines through. And it's, a few people have said to me, you should work in pre-sales. And when I started the company, my plan was to sort of maybe get sales guys involved. So Dave Quinn's Trading Route are going to come in and do some sales for us. But also, I think we're going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep putting out content. We're working with Daryl Irwin at Creation to build some content as well. So we've got some inbound stuff going on. We're doing some ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads. So we're going at it from all angles. But
well, I used to sell IT tech solutions, and when I first started, I wasn't technical, but I used to go there as a salesperson, get all of the technical information I needed, the questions, etc. Go back, get my tech team to answer it, and then they wouldn't want to speak to people because they were tech, So then I just go back and present it, and by doing that for 10 years, obviously, first couple of years, I got to know all the answers, so I didn't need to ask the tech people. Yeah. So I'm used to doing, I've been to see the Royal Mail, I sold to like Reebok and Nike and the Welsh Assembly Government and, the Knowledge Bank for Business, their grant department, I've dealt with a lot of high-end businesses. So basically, I have, for the big stuff, I used to be able to take my IT people, but for the smaller ones, not so much. And what I've noticed with corporate sales especially, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, do you take anyone else with you or do you just go yourself?
So my co-founder Tom sometimes gets involved if he's around, but it's normally just myself at the moment.
And do you normally go and pitch this? You probably do pitch this to a management team or to a board. Yeah.
Typically, well, it sometimes IT, it's sometimes a CFO level in a bigger organization. In a mid-sized organization, we're probably talking to a CEO or somebody in the C-suite. Maybe
but sometimes multiples. So you'll have like operations director, sales, marketing.
Operations directors seem to be getting involved in more of the conversations at the moment.
Yeah. So what I used to find is when so either me and my top seller used to go together on a lot of stuff. So we were one of the two top sellers between the two of us for the whole 10 years, and when you go as two, especially if you go as a salesperson in IT, for example, it allows you to much better come back with the right responses at the right time in the right situations, because one takes over the reins for the other while the other is thinking. So it's a really good, the tag team works. It really, really works. So that's something you should consider. I actually am available. There's a bit of a pitch in there. I'm a salesman. I could actually
Yeah,
go
yeah.
along with you on some meetings if you ever wanted to, as an outsourced shadow, if you like. I could
Yeah.
drive you. So I could drive all over the country. Obviously, I used to cover the country. I could drive you so that you could prepare for the meeting wherever in the car and do, drive you up there, attend a meeting with you, be that sort of relationship builder and step in when I see you need to think about an answer and deflect, if you like, and talk about something else. That then leads you to go, okay, yeah, let me, and that type of relationship works really, really well with big companies when it's 1 against 6 or 1 against 3 or, that's what my experience has taught me, and doing it with somebody who's not, if you take somebody who's novice, who's going to say the wrong things at the wrong time, that just annoys the hell out of you. If you go to somebody who's not very technical and stuff, then they don't, they'll say the wrong thing or they won't answer the right thing. But if you take somebody who's salesy, communication-y, and understands tech and that sort of thing as well. And actually, the key I used to find to sell into corporates, to tech solutions, was coming up with the solutions. So somebody who could think on their feet, somebody who's like switched on and is able to understand the problems that the people are having and what solution that you can build that's going to solve that problem. You mentioned it earlier yourself on the call, but not many people are capable of that. Not many people are capable of thinking on the fly, on the hop, if you like.
That's it, yeah. And it's what we're finding at the moment. We're having some great conversations, but actually closing is difficult. So it's nudging those forward, but it is a long sell what we do.
Do you use urgency creations on your proposals? So, for example, do you put a timeline on it? Do you say this quote is valid for 30 days or anything like that?
No, we don't at the moment, no.
So I would probably do that. I would do that. In fact, you could put it down to the end of the month. So this quote is valid until, or if they're on average slower decision, analyze your decision-making process time, work out what the average is, and use that. Use a little bit before that. Yeah.
It's going to be 90. Yeah, it's going to be 30 to 90, like 90 days. Some of these things take 3 months. We're asking people to spend 50 to 200K, so it's not sort of we're asking to spend $5,000.
So if it's on average 90, but you do some 30, you might see the actual real average is 70 days or something. So make it 2 months. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just squeeze a bit of pressure on it and time pressures, etc. Yeah. Because give them, put an incentive in place, give them an offer, tell them to listen. A bit like in the home improvement game, right? Actually, it's where I started out. I did door-to-door sales for 5 years, 16 to 21. In the home improvement game, they'll, for example, give a quote and then say, like at the bad times of year, say Christmas or whatever, they'll say, well, I'll give you a discount if you have it fitted by the end of January, because it's a quiet time of the year for us, so our fitters are quiet, yeah? So if you give someone a genuine...
It's a great time to do that, isn't it? It's a great time to do it. Because of COVID, we're offering a 20% discount.
Whatever, if you look at the reality, so whether you're busy, whether you're quiet, that's a reason to give a discount. So if you can give us a quick decision, we're so busy at the moment, I haven't got time to chase you, yeah? So give us a decision within 60 days, it'll fit in nicely with our timeline, yeah? Yeah, or we're really quiet at the moment, obviously because of COVID and that. So we'll give you a bit of an offer, but it's it's based on a decision within this month.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So put a bit of sales into your process and not just a bit of quoting or proposaling.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Bit of urgency creation, a bit of energy, a bit of fear of missing out. Yeah. So
good advice.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff works. That's why salespeople are salespeople, and people who aren't salespeople struggle a little bit in comparison to salespeople.
Yeah, that's it. There's definitely.
I understand data, but I would struggle in understanding data as much as you do. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
Thanks for the offer. I like the idea of sort of potentially. Yeah.
So if ever you get that big client and you need that help or support, that's sort of things I do. I also do sales management from afar, outsourced. So like motivation, sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you haven't got anyone to talk to about that sale or what happened, or to review it, or have a second opinion on why it didn't come in, or what I lost it for, or what I should have asked, or what, yeah, all that sort of stuff. So I started doing that as well now. So basically, after being in sales for 20 odd years, I started a marketing agency. So I do mostly digital marketing, social media and all that for the last 9 years. But then the last year or two, I thought, actually, it's about time now. My left arm was great with sales. I've really grown my right arm now, stick them both together now and start combinations. Yeah. So that's where I'm at now. And that's why I've done the streams formula, which has both marketing and sales in it.
Yeah.
So
you've got to have both. You've got to have both. The marketing's got to work.
And most people have it. Most people either one or the other, like, you know. But this day and age now, they're both. You know, it's like having a game of golf, and you can get onto the fairway, but you can't putt. You know, or you can putt, but you can't get to the green. Like, you know what I mean? It's no good. You need both. You know.
That sums me up. I'm the latter.
You could putt.
Getting onto the green, 20 shots on the green, I'm all right.
I think I can get to the green all right because I got a bit of power in me and stuff. But when it comes to greens, if there's any roll on it or whatever, I'm like shooting past the green and back and getting forward again, whatever.
Yeah.
But,
anyway.
So yeah, it's been great to meet you. Connect on social media. I'm Mike Armstrong and Michael Armstrong on everything. Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah, MA Consultancy and Welsh Biz. Yeah. Tag me in on anything and I'll share your content. Because again, I like helping people. And I like learning.
Yeah, I will do, Mike. Definitely. We're going to start posting a little bit more. We do all right. We do all right, but we're not pushing as hard as we'd like to. But yeah, we're predominantly on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Do you want to join my Introbiz or my own? I'm building two at the moment. LinkedIn pod, which basically means I'm going to come up with a time of day that everyone posts, and everyone posts. Grab the links, put it into a WhatsApp group. And then everyone jumps on the links in the WhatsApp group and likes and comments it. So it gets engagement, which drives the sharing of that content to other people through LinkedIn algorithms.
Love to be part of that.
Yeah, okay, good. I'll send you an invite. Send me your mobile number on email with some information about what you do. Yeah. And if you've got a YouTube channel, anything like that, I've got a YouTube channel, Mike Armstrong YouTube channel. Let's just get connected and just start helping each other.
Yeah, we'll do. Definitely. Nice one. All right, Mike. Well, yeah, a couple of the mid-sized businesses we're talking to sort of struggling with, I guess, revenue creation and sales. So if I think there's an opportunity, I'll give you a shout as well.
I tell you what I think businesses all need at the moment is that happiness formula, because people are going to come back overweight, right? Depressed, unhappy, mental issues, especially the ones who've been like kids around them all the time. Yeah, because like I've had a great lockdown because I see my kids on FaceTime on the weekend. Like, you know, I'm divorced with my wife. Like,
I got three, yeah.
I got three as well, 3 daughters, like, you know. So my lockdown would have been much different if I had 3 daughters around me all the time. But that's why I'm able to do like 75-day, you know, 2 45-minute exercises a day and read 10 pages of an educational book and all that because I got time. So so the happiness formula, I think, would work really well because it's just a daily formula. But go in there, talk a little bit about it, give people some experience or whatever, make it fit in their head better than just go, this is the formula. Yeah, talk to them about it, you know, answer their questions or whatever, motivate them, chat with them, get them inspired, motivated, put a league in place or whatever to see who's doing the most. I think there's a big call for that at the moment in those mid-sized companies as everyone comes back from furlough.
Yeah.
So
the data piece there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's definitely a wellness, well-being type day, you know, training.
Yeah. Nice one. I love it. Yeah, well, let's definitely keep in touch, Mike.
Brilliant, we'll do, and look forward to seeing you at the real world events when they start.
Definitely, yeah. No, it'd be good to grab a beer.
Great, nice. Yeah, I always have beers. That's I was Network of the Year 2018, the first time Introbiz ever give the award out. So, you know, and that's because I like to go for a drink with people after the events.
Yeah. Nice
so, and also I've done work for about 70 of their 300 members, maybe 80 over the years as well, like, you know. So, you know, because I do so much in sales and marketing, I end up being able to help someone with something at some point.
Yeah, it's a great network. We just put a proposal in for, and I've got a call with him in an hour actually. Damien Bridgman for the Welsh government. They've got about £1 million budget, so we want some of it.
Well, I was going to ask you on the call actually if if you thought about relocating an office to Wales and taking part in the tech fund. There's a big tech fund at the moment for Wales for innovation.
How is that?
And what you just mentioned then, you mentioned at the end about what you were looking to do with the farming, the data and stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Something else that popped in my head, which I thought would be good as well, is sticking, have you seen those little white boxes that monitor smartphones as they go by?
I've not seen them, but I know. Yeah, I know of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically you can put like Bluetooth on or whatever and monitor smartphones as they go by. And
Yeah.
I think there's money in putting those in retail units, etc., and monitoring the passing traffic.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think with these pop-up things as well, you can like send offers and stuff. So as they walk by, you can Bluetooth them an offer. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So that's some stuff that I've looked into, you know, for the future of sales and marketing and analytics and stuff like, you know.
Great use case that. Yeah. So anything like that, any any sort of sensors and IoT type devices. So we've partnered with a company called Snowflake, which can store massive volumes of data very cheaply. So
ask Paul as well, Paul Smolinski, to introduce you to Alfie.
okay.
Alfie's a company, not a person, but they do smart billboards, outdoor billboards that track eye color, hair color, body shape, age, and they put out adverts based on who's looking.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so it's tailored rather than just one random advert that hits or misses the audience.
Yeah, exactly. So sort of tailored marketing.
Yeah. So you want to speak to them because they would have a lot of data.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, that'd be a good intro.
Yeah. So speak to Paul about that, Alfie. But and if I come across any other people or think about things, if you email me some stuff that you're doing as well, I'd love to. I got a blog which talks about Welsh business and UK business, global business. I got loads of social media pages which talk about all the same stuff. I happily share stuff.
I live nearer to Wales than most. I'm about 13 minutes from Chepstow.
Are you? Just what area is that then? What's that come under?
Thornbury.
Thornbury, yeah. My cousin used to. Have you ever heard of Rhys Oakley? Used to play for Bristol rugby.
What's his name?
Sport for you, and Rhys Oakley.
Yeah, no, I've not heard of.
He played for Bristol, then he played for Leeds, I think. Then he played for Newport Dragons, and now he's player coach at Plymouth, I think, or Exeter, one of them.
Okay.
He's retired now. Same, he's a bit younger than me. He's 40 odd, I think. I'm 42.
Yeah.
He's a bit younger than me, he is. But he lived in Thornbury, I think he was. It's like Sevenside as well, or something like that, isn't it? It's near Sevenside.
Yeah, it's not too far away.
Yeah. It's pretty close, like, you know, it's pretty close. But
so it won't be so difficult for us to relocate.
No,
just go over the bridge.
But if you can get money, you know, Wales are chucking it. You know, I think they want Wales to be a tech innovation centre, like, you know, and they're chucking some money at it. So, you know,
I'll have a look at that.
Yeah, definitely have a look at it. There's a guy in our network group called Steph Evans, I think, or Stephen Evans, something Evans. I'm meaning to speak to him myself. He helps people.
He's the innovation guy, is he?
He's the innovation guy. Yeah, he helps people get grants off the government for developing the tech side of their business. So I got a load of tech solutions in my head because obviously I used to sell tech solutions and I'm into IT and sales and marketing and performance, increasing efficiency, technology. I can come up with loads of things in my head. So what I want to do is speak to him about what they're chucking money at and design something.
Yeah.
So rather than design and see if I can get funding, just find out what they're funding and design something in that space.
Well, so we were a bit too late for there was a farm innovation funding piece in the UK. There was about £2 million of funding for it, but we were a bit too slow. It came up a little bit late and we had a lot of other stuff going on. But again, I think it's a good approach because I think getting government money right now, there's going to be government money being flung all over the place and some really interesting causes as well. So if you think about all the environmental issues, I know Daryl always talks about what's your purpose, you know. Yeah. And I think being able to contribute to climate change, all that kind of stuff is it's a bigger
exactly.
thing.
You tick the boxes, whatever's relevant right now, whatever people are trying to get it done. And also, you've done some solutions, my guess. So what I used to do is go to companies like you've done, build a bespoke solution, but then I used to put in tailorable bits because different people want different things, but then sell it to the rest of the industry, because often same companies in the industry want the same solutions.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
you
that's
might
what we're
have
looking to
some
do.
solutions that you've built for other people that you can monetize multiple times over. If you wanted
Yeah.
to share any of them with me, I might know someone who might want one.
Okay, cool. We're working on it. We're talking about a particular aerospace scenario at the moment. We're thinking about building a product around.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, all right, nice. Anything like that. Like I say, I want to get more into tech, into corporate tech, really, high-end tech, because I know how much they spend on it. And
Well,
as a commission earner, that's what I want to get some big tools in my box, not just the basic ones,
Yeah, so we're in the NatWest Hub, startup hub in Bristol, and a lot of startups have said, "Oh, can you help us with our data?" And I'm like, "We're focused on big enterprise, so kind of, I gave a guy a quote in the hub, and he said, no, it's all right, we've got some money." So I gave him a quote. He went, "Oh, we can't spend that much," and it just made me realise you've got to really focus on your market because, and actually, the big corporates are the guys with the money, and they're good, so that's kind of our focus. We can do less work and earn more money doing it that way. So not that we still work very hard, but
but that's somebody pays you 500 quid or a grand, and they want to know what you're doing every minute of every day. Somebody spends you 50 grand and they don't care what you're doing. They just measure the results at the end or whatever.
That's the kind of magnitude difference, I think. Yeah. So there you go.
Definitely.
Cool.
There we are. Right, great. Have a good day. Wish you all the best.
Talking to you, mate. I'll send some stuff over.
Ta-ra. Bye-bye.
Buddy, all the best. Bye.
Bye.